what we were talking about, a lintel, right? So you need to, your inspectors are probably going to either make you put a header or they're going to make you reinforce this. So this is stabilized with rebar reinforcements. So that means rebar was driven through this bag while it was still wet, basically.
Yes. So these domes are completely unstabilized except for the lintel.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is that earthen plaster we were talking about, clay and straw and sand.
This has been plastered like this, weathering for about 10 years now.
Whoa.
All right.
Keep in mind though, we're dry climate. We're the high desert. We may get 4 seasons, but we do not have the largest, highest water table in the world. So, Pedro, like when you and I were talking about Puerto Rico, this will let off a lot sooner in your climate than
Some
ours.
clay
Some heavy
is
wind
better
will
than
blow it
other
away,
clays,
right?
Okay.
Yes.
It will work better. Like some clay is stickier, some clay doesn't expand as much. You know how we were talking about soils, all that stuff. Those factors go into play for how long that plaster might last.
So all clays are not equal. Some are more equal than the others.
In ways.
You can find clays are all different. I actually, one of the first builds I was on was for a recessed dome into a hillside back in Ojai. So it was built into the side of this hill mountain, and there was a mineral spring on it, so like a hot spring, which produced a really teal colored clay, which they use for their plaster. It was beautiful. So all clays are different, all regions are different that have different
Bentonite clay, avoid that. Yeah.
That's good for
Very-
skincare. Right.
Very expansive.
Detoxing.
It's like it expands too much that you will have lots of cracking in your plaster and it will fail a lot faster.
Yeah.
And that's the case well.
Lower expansion is better for your plaster.
Let's go ahead and take a look over here. So we like pointing out this roof, right? So we were experimenting with different kinds of waterproofing, different ways to do different roof styles and stuff. And please piggyback off of anything I say. But this one was done completely by accident.
The shape.
The shape of it. Oh. So when this was done, somebody actually leaned on it and it did this.
Wow.
But
It put too much weight on it.
what we learned from this is actually it sheds water better now.
Yeah. If
So
only we had directed that over the garden bed.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Or a cistern.
Yes.
Big Tracy's hat.
Yeah. So this guy here, again, this was completely unstabilized except for the boot and the hat. All right. So when you try to waterproof your structures, you gotta think. You gotta like if water is splashing down here, splashes up onto your structure. That's where the boot comes in. All right. And then we have an unstabilized plaster, so this breathes a lot better than cement plaster does. So your walls, your structure will be more comfortable inside because it breathes better. It will protect from water flow down low, like any splashback, or if there's heavy sitting water down here. And then the hat sheds it further away from your foundation, so there's less likely for cracking or water leaking into your structure. Again, this hat was too big. That was the problem. So like it weighs down. This hat needs some supports because every time we have fixed it, you see all those like grout lines. It just keeps settling more and more over the years and expanding. Now it also needs to be waterproof. That's part of the problem. Every time this thing gets soaked, it expands and then it cracks more. Expands, it cracks more. And so if this was grouted and if it was waterproof, that might stop the cracking, but I would still prefer to have some sort of brace here, keeping that from falling in. Okay?
I don't think it'll stop it. I think that it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of long.
But I mean, the design itself, if you supported it right, is quite spectacular actually.
It
And
is.
when it does, when we get a lot of rain, it really and it drops it away from your foundation. So that's great.
This has been here as long as I've been. So this was done. The dome was started
Oh wait,
like
the
a year before I got here,
no,
and then
it's not.
finished in like
So
the
we
same
use
year that I got here. So
And is rebar the one that they use there, or what kind of?
Yeah, so what they did was they had a lot of PVC pipe placed radially at the height of that, like the top of the hat part,
Okay.
or where this part starts to come out. And then when they were done, they put rebar into those pipes that were sticking out, and then they put rebar going across in a circle, attaching to the rebar spokes that were coming out radially. And then I think they more than likely put wire mesh. If I remember correct. I think it was like a diamond lath mesh that they attached to that, and then they put plaster on that. But again, that's not strong enough for what was going on here. You know.
Especially when someone leans on it.
Now, a narrower hat, right? If they would have had like half of this length, it might not have shed enough water away from this, but it would have been able to support it properly. Maybe if it was down lower, you know, then it would have had to extend out quite so far. All right. There's lots of things you could have done to kind of fix that.
So let's move on.
This one is an adobe, which looks strong.